Okay, I took notes for this one so I can really give you guys the best information, kind of use my mind, not just in the moment, but on paper. I want to talk about some things that have helped me, have helped others, and are really just useful things in general that we can implement into our life or take away from our life to help reduce or minimize the effects of depression, which is seemingly widespread in today's society. So I want to start with the first and foremost, which I find to be one of the most important. Now, depression can be chronic, right? Which means it could occur throughout the duration of your life, which would mean you want to apply more of the things I'm talking about as opposed to just implementing one. But this one in and of itself can eliminate depression or limit it greatly, which is exercise. So why is exercise so important? Well, it's the dopamine and serotonin that's naturally occurring, so your neurological functions are higher, right? If your diet's good and you're exercising, the odds of depression are already extraordinarily low because it's what you're ingesting or not doing to better your emotional health, which is physical things you're doing. Eating the right things or eating the wrong things can have effect on your mood. It's proven, look it up. Same thing with exercise. You want to stimulate those natural functions of your mind, which are to benefit your emotional state. You want serotonin. That's what's called the happy, happy function. That functions with or regulates your happiness. If you have low serotonin, you're not as happy. So that's a big thing, but I figured I'd mention it anyway. All right, this is something we all do. Social media. Spend way too much time on social media. I don't care if yours is Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. If you're seeing other people's lives and you're seeing other people's lifestyles, what happens is we tend to compare ourselves to others. I love this quote: comparison is the thief of joy. Now, a lot of things can steal your joy, but I can assure you, if you're comparing yourself to others, whether it be in the form of, oh, I have more money than them, that can come at a time if you start doing well for yourself. Oh, look, I'm better than them. You're still comparing. Your joy is not going to be there, right? Or right now, you might be in a position where you're like, I'm not doing so well, not doing so hot. Man, look, man, he's out in Dubai. I want to be in Dubai, right? So the envy, the jealousy, the comparison, all that steals from your joy because you don't even realize what you got right now is beautiful in and of itself. And it's a moment in time. You're not always going to be where you're at. So where you're at right now is temporary. If you don't sit around and go, man, I'm somewhere, thank God I get to experience this time. And it's mundane. Maybe it's not so fun. Maybe we've already done all the exciting things that we can do and we're bored. We're jaded. But it doesn't matter because there is things in this moment that are worth our energy. Okay, social media, exercise. Those are two things so far. Eliminate bad habits. If you know you have any bad habits that you are actively doing or consistently doing, or both, you know you shouldn't be doing them, don't do them. Stop doing them. If it's hard for you to do cold turkey, what you do is you regulate how much of it you have. If you're doing 5 hours of this activity per week, cut it down to 3, and then a couple weeks from now, cut it down to 2, cut it down, do it slowly. That's a way to wean off of bad habits, to minimize it, to lower the dose, right? Lower the dose. Bad habits don't make you feel good at the end of the day. Practice gratitude. This is something that many of us are not doing because we are concerned with the cares and the worries of life, and we are trying so hard just to get by and trying so hard just to enjoy life. We're not practicing gratitude. You're not sitting around saying, look how wonderful this little beautiful dog or this amazing flower that I can see. Look at this tree, how complex it is, how that's hundreds of years old, and I get to look at it. And look at how, the sunset and nature and the mountains and the valleys and the bodies of water. It's like if you sat around and went, you know what? I'm grateful that I get to live in a beautiful world, a world that is not all corrupt. It couldn't be. There's pure things. Look out for the pure things. Focus and put your mind on the pure things. Now, I think what I put after this, so what I would say is even go as far as saying, I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for these beautiful trees. I'm thankful that I get to have tea. I'm thankful that I get to smell the aromas of the beautiful fields, and I get to smell the amazing food, whatever tickles your fancy, whatever you like, whatever makes you smile that day or makes you go, oh wow, this is nice. Say, I'm thankful for it. You know, practice that, implement it. So yeah, all the purity and things, you know, it can be in human beings, but you got to remember, once we're damaged, once we're betrayed, once we're taken advantage of by humans, sometimes we have a negative perception. But the thing is, that's not human beings in its entirety. Even in its grand form, it's a very minute group of people that decide to hurt one another, and we've probably been guilty of hurting people too. So we have to forgive. Forgive is a weird thing. You're like, why am I going to forgive someone that did dude, you don't know how bad what this person did. Well, if you recognize this one thing, it'll literally change the way you think about forgiveness. We're told to forgive not only like from God, but like I would say from God, it's more of like a command, right? But why? Right? Is it just because like, oh, let bygones be bygones? Like, all right, I'm gonna forget about it. No, that's not it at all. You can still be upset about what happened, but you got to remember, the forgiveness is taking that weight off of you. You got that unforgiveness sitting on your shoulders, sitting on your back. Is heavy. So when you forgive, you get rid of that power that's over you. So you got power over you, which means, you know, I think Mike Tyson said this in an interview, and it really put things in perspective for me. He said forgiveness, or he said something about controlling emotions. When we don't forgive, it is our emotions are being controlled by that person. So the enemy, right? Not the person, the enemy, but the dark powers that be want us to live in unforgiveness so that they have control of our emotions. If we don't control our own emotions, if we don't have the ability to say, no, I'm not going to let this affect me. No, I'm going to be stable. I'm going to be on a firm foundation. I'm not going to let this whole thing uproot my life and change my character and all this, then we're strong. But if we're letting all these outside things come in and hit us and move us to emotional state, right? If we're in an emotional state, that's what unforgiveness does. It puts us in an emotional state. We're bitter, we're short, we don't talk much. We got to get rid of it. It's so important, right? You want your joy back. You want to get rid of depression and all these things, man. I'm telling you, these are some real things. So one of the last things, which is more of a big widespread thing, is your perspective. You're looking at life probably more than likely from a perspective of a first world person. You're in a first world like me. So we look around and we see cars, jewelry, houses. We see all these things. Go watch a YouTube video like right now. It would serve you, of like touring a third world country where some guy goes with a camera and walks through these villages and walks through it. Really understand what a lot of the world is living in. We're so focused on what some guy or some chick has on social media who's got millions of followers, who like happen to fall into that lifestyle because they're good looking or because their family was born into it. Like, we're comparing ourselves to things that aren't even real. Like, they're not even attainable to us because they're not part of our life. They're not what was given to us. So go look at what other people were given as part of their reality, and some of them, believe it or not, are happier than us. You know, a lot of the people in my city that are gardeners are way happier than the people driving by in the Benzes and the Raris and all that. I look at the expressions on the faces. The gardeners are happier. No cap. Perspective. That's what I'm saying. Perspective. Stop sitting around thinking about, oh, this is life, man. I just gotta level up. I gotta grind. Yeah, but like, do you know that people don't even have internet access, don't even have the opportunity to become anything because they're just living in towns where it's just vendors? You're just selling stuff. And even if you sell as much stuff as you can think of selling, you're still gonna live regular. You're still gonna live in a man-made little thing with, like, just think about how complex our society already is and how much we are fortunate to have access to. You live in a house, you got family, or you live in an apartment and you still got family or you got friends. You think about, you got food every day, you go to bed on a bed. Think about these things. It's perspective. You do have a lot, but you're not thinking about the fact that you have a lot because you're so focused on this social media idea of who you should be and how people portray themselves. It doesn't mean that they're happy. They could be just as unhappy as you without all these things. So you got to find out how to be happy without all of it. How are you going to be able to handle all the good things when you can't even be happy without it? That's going to be a curse. You're going to get all these things and it's going to be a curse because now you need these things to be happy. That's not the way God designed it. There's no power in that. You're broken. You're still broken and you're still in bondage to something. Don't let that be the case. Free yourself of it. Last but not least, this is up there with exercise. Pray. You don't know who to pray to. You don't know what to pray about. Talk to God about your problems. And if that's the way it goes right now, so be it. You want to talk about just your problems? That's fine. God's listening. So talk to God as though he's listening, because he is. You don't know what to pray. You don't know who to pray to. Talk to Almighty God. Let him reveal himself. Ask him to show you. Ask him to reveal. It's just like that, man. So these are some of my best tips. There's probably more, but we'll stick with that today. And tune in. All right.